Great, thanks so much. All right. Welcome or welcome back to the Academy 201 info session. You are here to learn a little bit more about Academy 201 hosted by Arena in February of 2025. Before we jump in, I just want to let you know this is being recorded. We will share the recording out with you after, so you will have access to it for however many times you want to watch it and relive it. I am Jess Weldon. I am the training director at large here at Arena. I have updated my title as of today. And we've already introduced all of ourselves, so you can keep doing your introductions if you'd like to. We are going to hop in with a little bit of very quick information about Arena. We are an organization that was founded in 2016 to convene, train, and support the next generation of campaign leaders. At the training team, you are with us here today. Our values are community empowerment, strategy, and growth. And if you're watching the recording, you can pause it to read them all because I'm not going to read them all out loud right now, but we hope that all of these values show up in all of the work that we do, which is all of this stuff. So you are here at an info session about training. So we do role-specific training for folks who are wanting to be organizers all the way up to campaign managers. We're talking today about a campaign or a management training, excuse me, but we also do trainings and advanced specializations on occasion. We also have a careers team, shout out to careers, who support all of our grads and members of the community in landing their next role and just navigating through their career. So they support with resume review, coaching, and we also have a grad database. So keep that in mind. If you are in the position to hire, we do have a searchable database of all of the people who have come through Arena Academies and more, and people who have contributed their resumes. My favorite part of being a member of the Arena community is all of you, all of the incredible people that we get to interact with. So we interact together online and sometimes in person. There are some formal ways that we do that. We have virtual coffees that you can sign up for. We have some self-organized groups that you can join. And then we also meet in person for convenings several times a cycle or once a cycle. And then last but not least, we also have our toolbox, which is a suite of free and downloadable tools that you can find online at arena.run/toolbox. Those would include templates, video guides, all kinds of stuff. And if you have an idea for a tool, let us know because we are always adding to that. So that's that on Arena. Any questions here, you can drop them in the chat or the Q&A box before we get into the good stuff. Sweet. Okay, we are going to dive into the good stuff now. If we could, can we drop the link to the Academy 201? All of this stuff is on our website, so you can look at that. And I'm just going to go over the top lines, but please feel free if you have questions, drop them in the Q&A box will be the easiest way for me to see them. So we're looking at an Arena Academy 201. We're calling it 3 days. Thursday through Saturday, February 20th through 22nd. Those are going to be kind of a half day in there in the mix, so maybe 2.5 days. We are inviting you to join us if you are a campaign staffer or a movement staffer who wants to manage people and programs. And as you'll see as we move through all of this, we are looking for reasons to bring you in. The application is meant for you to highlight your strengths, and so we are just trying to get you into this academy. The deadline to apply is February 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. Sometimes we set those little type forms to expire, so please make sure that you are submitting your application before then. And the way that we're going to spend our time together is mostly in plenary sessions this time. So it will mostly be together whole group, which is in contrast to our academies where we kind of break out into specific tracks. The trainings will focus on management and leadership skills, really with like a strategic lens. And this is going to include some budgeting sessions and some kind of finance specific sessions as well. We'll get into that in a second. And like I said, this is for folks who want to manage people or programs within the progressive ecosystem. We do hope that you would have like we're calling it one cycle of campaign experience, or about 6 months of working in the progressive movement space, just to make sure that you have enough kind of context about how organizations typically operate in this space, because it is a little bit different than in different industries. So if you don't have that experience, don't worry, still apply for this. The worst thing that will happen is we'll just refer you to a different training. A few sample sessions. So we will have a session on budgeting, and this is going to be a session where we talk about the larger approach to budgeting, but also some detail-oriented things about how cash flow can be tracked, how you can set projections and then measure your progress to meeting those projections, and do some scenario planning as well in case the projections are not 100% accurate, because they never are, so that your program is very flexible. We also have a structure on creating feedback structures within your organization or within your team, to make sure that we are adapting and evolving within the context of what is very controllable in our own environment, which is how we interact with people. And then finally, we also have sessions on hiring and onboarding equitably, looking at what a good hiring practice or process looks like, and how to do this in the most equitable way, given the constraints that we have in our kind of in our campaign or movement work environment. These are not all of the sessions. This is just a little sample. It's a little charcuterie, if you will, but there is much, much more. Just trying to give you a little sense of what you might find there. All right. Any questions about the content before we actually get into the application itself? All right. Now we are going to walk through not the entire application, but I'm going to show you what the application looks like, and I'm going to pull out a few questions where we get a lot of questions in our inbox to kind of try to answer those for you. If you have questions moving through this, please feel free, drop it in the Q&A in the chat, raise your hand, because we want to get them answered. So if you clicked on the link that is in the chat, this is the page that you will see. You'll look down at the bottom here. Oh my gosh, do I dare? You'll look down right here. Wow. I think that's the only time I'm going to do that, but that was fun. And you'll click on apply today. And when you click on that, oh no, I can't stop. That's why. Clear all drawings, close. Okay. When you click on apply today, you are going to see a type form. So we're going to break that down now. I do recommend completing this kind of in one sitting. You can come back to it later, but it's easier to just do it all at once if you have two things prepared. So it's going to ask you for a copy of your current resume. We do prefer a PDF. It's much easier for our application reviewer team if you have it in a PDF. And then there will be 2 written responses, and I'm going to show you those written responses and give you exactly what we're looking for in them. So when you get to this page, I do want to highlight that it is going to tell you that registration for the event costs $200 and scholarships are available. Whether or not you can pay the $200, click on begin application. That does not impact whether or not you are accepted into the academy. Don't let that be a barrier to you. Just click on begin application and don't worry about that. Then it's going to ask for your first name, your last name, your email address, and it wants to know if we can text you. The things that we will text you about are going to be reminders about the application. We're going to ask you if you had any questions filling out the application. We're going to ask you if you have applied for a scholarship, we may follow up with you. And then during the academy itself, we will text you like, hey, this session is about to start. So you can opt out of our text messages after the 201 if you want to, but you might miss a communication from us if you opt out of these right now. So it is up to you, but we do send these text messages specifically to support Academy. So it is a way that we communicate with all of our applicants. Then you're going to get this little thing that I just said. Once you do all of that, it's going to ask you also about some identity questions. I do just want to let you know that the demographic questions that we're asking are to help us understand how well we're recruiting. So it is a measure of our own strength and reach in recruiting a multi-generational, multiracial, multi-ethnic, working class movement to apply for these things. And so that is the reason why we're asking them. It also is going to ask you whether or not you have attended an event in the past, and it is going to list out all of the arena academies that we've ever had. This will not impact whether or not you are accepted into this. So don't feel like if you haven't attended one that you need to say that you have or pick one. The reason why we're asking this is because it helps us, if we need more context with your application, then we can look back at your application to a previous one and get supplemental material there. So again, it will not hurt you if you have not come to an arena academy. Next, it is going to ask you if you worked in a paid political movement building or electoral role in the 2024 cycle. We get a lot of questions here, so I am going to pause. I will let you know that you don't need to have worked this cycle, but you do need to have had some experience in this. So are there any questions about what counts? What counts as experience?
Yes, I do have questions on what counts as experience.
Yes.
I have not done campaign management before.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give some examples on what counts?
Yeah, so if you have been an organizer, if you have worked at a tech company like ActBlue that supports organizers, if you have worked in a research organization or have worked in polling, or maybe you've been a consultant on a race, all of those things count. We also consider allied C4 organizations or C3 organizations, which are nonprofits that are working in the democracy space. So maybe doing voter registration or advocacy work, all of those things would count. Cool. I had an associate role with a political consulting firm that ran Dem campaigns. Would that count? Yes. How far back can the experience go if it wasn't the 2024 cycle, considering folks tend to work in between cycles? Yeah, if you have any experience, it is more important that you plan to work in the future. So apply. Awesome. What else? Recent college grads who did their first cycle with college organizing and clubs count? Yes. What else? Non-paid roles. The non-paid roles, we really evaluate more on what the role was. So there is a question at the end that asks, like, is there anything else you'd like to share? I would recommend just putting as much context as you can in that question too. And that will help because there are a lot of campaigns where staffers are not paid, unfortunately. So we evaluate those too. I was a staffer for an elected official. Yes, that counts. Assistant canvas director of a nonprofit environmental group. Yes, that's great. Am I too old for organizing? In my 40s, the answer is no. We are all organizers. Come on, let's do it. Okay, if you have any more questions about whether or not you are qualified to apply, and I'm going to put that in quotation marks, what I will say is you should just apply. And then if for some reason you don't meet this criteria, we can tell you that. And we'll just tell you, hey, maybe you can come to Academy. That's literally the worst thing that can happen. So if you're on the fence, just go ahead and apply. And we review every single application very, very thoroughly. So fear not. This is the same thing. Just telling you what I just said. Here is the one that is actually going to make or break whether you are accepted. This question, do you intend to work on a campaign or at a movement organization in the future? Yes or no? If you do not intend to continue working in the progressive movement ecosystem, I don't know what we can teach you at Academy, because this is specifically geared towards people who are going to continue working in this space. All of the sessions are oriented towards that, so you will not get very much out of attending this if you don't intend to work in the future in the progressive space. So I'll pause there. Any questions on that? Cool beans. All right, so then it's going to ask you for your resume. Again, PDF is best, but if you don't have a formal resume for some reason, that is okay. Type up a little bit about your past experience in your own words and submit it here. We have had people do this and have been accepted into Academy 201. It is not something to stress out about, especially if you have a LinkedIn. We will, again, look for every reason that we can find to bring you in. The next section is your chance to introduce yourself and tell us more about your commitment to working on a campaign. What does this mean? It means you're about to get some prompt responses. So we have a full document that tells you how to submit your best prompt response. And I'm going to go through some things right now, but I do want to orient you that you can find this document. It is called Submit Your Best Prompt Response, and it has each prompt response listed out and our hopes and dreams for how you will answer it, an example, and then it also lists out common pitfalls. So I do recommend reviewing this document. You'll notice that we're not asking you to use perfect spelling and grammar or anything like that. This is not like a writing test. This is to help us get to know you. Okay, so we're gonna move through it. Am I still online? Cool, that's great. I just blew another circuit, so just stay here, don't leave. Okay, so this question is, why would you like to attend Arena Academy 201? How will this training help you accomplish your professional goals in the future? It has a maximum of 250 words. It can be short. We're really looking for growth areas or skills that you would like to focus on. And then the second question is, what kind of structures or practices are currently missing or underutilized in campaigns or movement work? How would you like to address this? Again, a max of 250 words. After you go through that, it's going to ask you about scholarships. Let me see if I made slides. Okay, I did. So we're just going to keep walking through. It's going to ask you about scholarships. Again, this is a need blind application process. If you do not have $200 around laying in your pocket, that's okay. Just hit got it. It will ask you a question and then you'll be able to continue on the application. If you say that you don't have that right now, that's okay. If you are accepted, we will just send you a sliding scale and you can pay whatever it is that you are able to. And then I do want to emphasize again, this last question, anything else you'd like us to know? If you are in a situation that is an unusual situation with your employment, you can tell us that here, or if you would like to just tell us a joke, you're welcome to do that too. This is whatever, this is the catch-all. If you're going through and you think that we should know something about you, you can just tell us here. I see some questions about how to handle payment. Let's hold on to those until the end, and I will happily answer them. So don't let me forget. And you will know that your application has been submitted because you will see this screen. If you haven't seen this screen, that means that we might not have your application. That's okay. You can just let us know, or if you opted into our text messages, we will text you and remind you to apply. And then you can text us back and talk about that. Okay. What makes a good prompt response? We're going to look at each of the questions right now. So fear not if you wanted to see one of them again, because here they both are. How is the training going to help you accomplish your professional goals is question 1. And how would you fix the progressive ecosystem structurally is kind of question 2. So let's look at question 1 first. Why would you like to attend Arena Academy 201? What we are looking for is for you to let us know that you are going to use the training that we're giving you in a role in the progressive ecosystem to build our movement and to build your career in this space. We are hoping that we can build a community of practitioners who are all across the movement space, interconnected, and just really strengthen our movement. So we are hoping that that will be how you apply our training. We sometimes see a few things, common pitfalls. If you start listing out skills that are not taught at Academy 201 as things you want to learn, for example, for this one, if you list out that you really need to get really good at SQL, that would probably be something that we would refer you to a different training for. We also often see people copy paste cover letters in this. And I do want to again remind you that it is a 250 word limit. So that means that people kind of just copy paste the introduction of their cover letter. And so that doesn't really work out very well. And then another pitfall is extreme brevity. You don't have to write us a ballad, but you probably should write more than one sentence. So find something between one sentence and the Odyssey to submit. About 250 words would be great. All right, any questions about this one? Is an Arena Academy happening later this year, not a 201? Yes, at least one. It has not been scheduled yet, but it will be scheduled shortly. Okay. So again, if you want to see an example of this one, it's here on this sheet for you. So you can check it out, you know. I also think we have a note on here. Is there a note about ChatGPT? I'll give you a note about ChatGPT as well. If you are a ChatGPT head, you are not alone. Many people who apply for Academy also believe in the powers of ChatGPT. And what happens is we get extremely similar responses. So your response certainly will not stand out if you use ChatGPT to write it. That's all I'll say. It will look strikingly similar to at least 14 or 15 others, is my caution. All right, the second question is maybe a little bit more open to interpretation. This is your time to show us your inner thinking. What kinds of structures or practices are currently missing in campaigns? How would you like to address this? This is asking you to think about systems level problems. So we're thinking about a very zoomed out, high level solution here. And we're thinking specifically about campaign staff, honestly. So there are a lot of systemic problems that people identify sometimes that impact like society at large, which I think it's good that we're able to identify those. We're hoping part of our mission is to be able to improve the conditions within which we do the work. So we hope that you will think about things this way too. There are some common pitfalls. So the first one is listing hyper-specific problems. If you start getting into bad things that happened on specific campaigns that you worked on, we're very sorry to hear about those things. And perhaps you could zoom out to see if those are generalized things, to talk more on a systems level. Also, sometimes people will focus in on policy, and we agree with many of the policy positions that we see as they come through. I too also would like universal healthcare, but we're looking specifically in the context of movement workers and how we can make that better. And then the last one is identifying problems without proposing solutions. So once again, this is here for you in this document. And everything I just said is here for you too. We're looking for systems level thinking. We're looking for proposing solutions. And we have 2 examples here. And again, common pitfalls right there. Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, the response should be expanded to movement orgs, not just campaigns. Any ecosystem work will do. And it's good to see you again, Bella. Okay. What other questions do we have? Okay, is the entire academy virtual? Indeed. Indeed it is. All right, when will you hear from us? Can you talk a bit more about what skills are covered? All right, let's save a few of the Q&A for the end. And I'm happy to keep answering questions. I just have like perhaps 2 more prepared slides. So let me tell you about the timeline. The application is open now. Dun, 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 dun. The deadline is February 2nd, and the notification date is February 8th. I believe that that date is a Saturday. We hope to send it to you before that Saturday, but I'm hedging, I want you to be surprised when you hear from me sooner. Actually, it'll probably be Jessica that you hear from too, the secret 3rd member of the training team. All right, so February 8th is it. What if you don't get accepted? There are just a few reasons that you might not be accepted. The first one is not having enough experience to have the right context for this training. If your application doesn't share details, again, about how you're planning to apply the training, that would be a reason. If you don't intend to work in the progressive ecosystem on a campaign or in progressive advocacy or at a nonprofit, that would be a reason, and not demonstrating an understanding of what will be covered in the training. If you don't have to know the agenda for the training, because we haven't released that yet, that's okay if you don't know every single session. But if you submit an application that seems like you're applying for like a project management training or something like that, that's not this. If you apply for some kind of, comms training or something, that's not this. This is a management and a strategic management training. Okay, so we think that you should apply. If you're on the fence and you decide, you know what, I don't think I would get accepted, and you don't apply, then you will not get accepted. But if you apply, then we can accept you, or we can tell you a different training that would be a better fit for you. So please apply. And now it's time for questions. Yeah, you got to be in it to win it. Okay, I'm going to make the chat big.
I do have another question. So I noticed that it's a, class that starts with a 201.
Mhm.
Do you have to have taken a class with you before in terms of a one-on-one
No,
or? Okay,
you do not.
all right.
That's a great question. Yes, you can attend if you have a cycle of experience or 6 months of experience, essentially, whether or not you have been trained by Arena before. Okay, I'm trying to scroll up to answer the questions in the order that they were asked. Ooh, a zinger. A zinger about AI is in the chat. Cool. What if your organization is paying? If your organization is paying, just let us know. And is there anything else you'd like us to know question? And if you're accepted in, then we'll send you a different kind of form to pay. But you can also just send us an email at training@arena.run. And we can talk with your organization directly so you don't have to be the middle person between all of that going on. Let's see what else we have. How often is 201 offered? I might be joining a campaign in mid-Feb, and I don't know if I'll be able to do both. And June answered it's offered at least once a year, but we have seen employers to allow attendees to use work time to do the training. Yes, I think that right now we tentatively have 2 of these scheduled, so there will be another one. But we also are planning to release our training calendar a little bit further in advance. So hopefully you'll have a little bit more time to plan. Cool beans. How competitive? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one. Is the academy held through the workday or in the evenings? It is both. So it is about a half day on Thursday, it is a full day on Friday, and it is a full day on Saturday. Can you talk a bit more about what skills are covered? Yes. So we have a leadership self-assessment on day 1 to really do a lot of kind of self-interrogation, if you will, to set us up for how we think about all of the different content that we're learning. And then we go into really hard skills on management. We do a lot of people management. So we do stuff around building a feedback culture and actually like how to give feedback. We also have some breakout sessions around performance improvement and terminations. If you need to kind of brush up on those skills, we will have a budgeting session that will be like a plenary session and set us up for some intentional and strategic management things. And then we have a session called Foundations of Intentional Management, which kind of just runs through all of the things that we think are absolutely essential for every manager, whether you're managing a department or an organization, and how to scale those things up or down to work for your organization. I think another thing that we often get asked a lot about, particularly for folks who have not, who haven't managed before, is like managing up. So we do address managing up in like the feedback section, but we don't have a full like session on managing up. How competitive is the process/acceptance? I will say that it really depends on how many folks we have apply. We have room for about 100. So I think in the past between 60 and 50%. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, so I'm literally just ballparking, and I might be totally off, but that's what my heart tells me. And I don't know if I can say that it's an expert intuition, but that is what my heart says right now, if that gives you any kind of an idea. Is this training appropriate for someone with a few years of management experience or more tailored to new managers? I would say that it is appropriate for both. I think Santiago answered this well. And I would also say that you have opportunity to go to the breakout sessions that you want to go to on Saturday, but it is also, I took this course when I was in a senior management role at a C4 organization, and I found that it was very helpful to gain perspective about how the people that I was managing were thinking about some of these things. And it really pushed my thinking in a lot of ways that I wasn't expecting. So we think that it's good to come. Will we hear back if we don't get accepted? Yes, you will. You will hear back from us. We have already written the emails, so we know what we're going to say, how we're going to say it. Cool. I think perhaps there may be, okay, no, I have not answered them. My spouse just went, this person has a potential caregiver role, and isn't sure if they should take it in February or if they should wait. I recommend that you apply to this one, because if for some reason you're not accepted to this one, then you will know that you might need to improve your application. And if you are accepted and you need to defer, then we can just defer, and you won't have to worry about applying again. Will there be another orientation? This is the orientation that we're going to do for this. So the answer is no, but this one has been recorded. So hopefully if you need to review it, you'll have the opportunity to. What exactly are the times and EST? Yes, so this is in Eastern time. There are definitely more than 2 breaks. So don't worry there. We have not finalized the entire agenda yet, so I'm hesitant to give you specific times, especially because it's being recorded and I'm on the record. But I can give you a ballpark. So I'm gonna say some numbers, you know. I would say that on Thursday, February 20th, we will start around the hour of 2 p.m. Eastern time, and we will end around the hour of 5:15 or around then. And then there may be an optional event in the evening. It's in italics, so we don't know. Then on Friday, we are going to start around the hour of 1 p.m. and we will end around 5:30 this day, around maybe 6, maybe 5, I don't know. And then there will probably be an optional event in the evening. Saturday is the long day, 10 a.m. Eastern time, which is very early if you're on the other side of the country. And then the wrap up that day is scheduled to end at 6. So that Saturday is the long day. And there are 0 breaks that day. Just kidding. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 breaks, ranging from 1 hour to 15 minutes. Okay, I believe that hopefully that may have answered your question. And I just read a classified document to you. Okay, any other questions? It's not your last call for questions. Would you be able to share success stories of folks? Yes, we have many success stories. I'm trying to think of a good one. I'm trying to think of one that we don't tell often. June, do you have any success? Okay, Santiago's off mute. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It's not to be called. Yeah, I had one. I've worked with data folks in the past, and this is a training I always sort of recommend. Um, I think a lot of folks will default and say like, "Oh, I was organizer." That management totally makes sense. But if you're working in digital, if you're working in data, if you're working in even comms, sometimes it doesn't feel like the intuitive step to learn more management. And I've seen it where folks have come to this not knowing or seeing themselves as managers and stepping into it, and just gaining a better understanding of how to not only work with a team that they manage, but also collaborate with other departments and start to understand some of the structures and things that they can put in place to help them facilitate the management of a team. And a lot of that is not necessarily what you go to first, especially if you're thinking about picking up hard skills or technical skills. And so how you give feedback, how you sort of create systems for collaboration, aren't things that are totally inherent, and can be some of the most beneficial and can be a real game changer in your career, and set you up for success beyond just the technical skills that you have. So there are a lot of those folks who I've seen go through the program and benefit from that, because that's not something else that they were looking for. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I will say it's hard for me to pick out like the names of people because it makes me feel like I'm like overlooking people that I love. So that's hard. But I maybe we'll just share some of the titles maybe that people have. So we have an executive director who came through and was not an executive director before they came through. I'm not saying that, we pushed them into that, but we were a step on their journey towards becoming an executive director. Arena has been a step on people's journeys towards becoming at like the vice president level of national organizations. We have definitely been a step on people's journeys towards becoming like campaign managers. So I am an Arena grad. So yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I would add is like the Arena 201 program is something that we added on in addition to our academy work, which is very like introductory to a lot of different facets of campaigns and progressive organizations and the work that different folks do. And we saw it as, we saw the amazing things that people who were just getting into the arena were doing, and wanted to think about ways so that we could continue to support them as their careers grow. And I think some of the success stories, if you do come to arena, one of the cooler ways that they present themselves is in the trainers that we're able to bring back.
Yeah.
I saw someone in the chat already, who I'm going to get to share a panel with at an upcoming convening elsewhere. And so those success stories are all over the place. And, maybe you'll come to this training and then later go out into the field, do some really amazing things, push us forward, and come back and help us train folks. And so that's one of our favorite things, is being able to see that loop close between participant and trainer.
Yeah, the participant to trainer pipeline. It's very cool.
It's one of our favorites.
Cool. Sweet. What else? Crystal, are you still here? I was just curious, I saw one of our partners on as well. Is it all right if I have to step out for an hour or two on Saturday? Yeah, that's cool. Let us know. we'll try to record the sessions that you have to miss.
Hi, Jess. I don't know if you saw my question. This is Jewel. Is there a certification when we finish this course?
I did not see that. Yes, there is. We make them in Canva. They're very fancy. You can put it on LinkedIn.
I was gonna say, I think we give instructions on how to put that on the LinkedIn.
Yeah, they look really nice. They're suitable for framing. I actually kind of want to get one and frame it.
Get a retro one.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Myra would be like, are you kidding? All right, what else?
I don't know if this is helpful for anyone who's thinking about attending, but I attended last year and I was just thinking about reattending because I'm an insane person. But one of the things that I think is the most beneficial is the management of people and really being able to like have the communication style to get your team into the same vein that you're looking for. I actually I took on a project director role after Arena Academy, and I was told by every single person that I managed that I was their favorite manager. So
Yay.
you do develop those skills.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And we'd love to have you back, come hang out. Sweet. Last call for questions. Should I like flick the lights? Like, people love when I do that.
They don't.
They don't. They actively dislike when I do that. Awesome. Well, we're excited to review your applications. If you need anything in the meantime, training at arena.run is how to find us. Oh my God, Kevin's here too. Everybody's here. Awesome. Sweet. Okay. Thank you all. Happy Wednesday. We're gonna close it down. We've appreciated you.